Well, welcome everybody to Spirit Airlines. I hope you have adequate leg room. We do our best. This concert sold out within hours of announcing it. Between on their site and my site. If you didn't check your email that morning, tough luck. So thrilled to have you all here. This is going to be a spectacular evening with Windborne. Let me tell you what's coming up. There's a sheet going around, sort of an attendance sheet. Also, if you want to get your name on my mailing list, just write it down below or in the back or something. Give you an email address. I'll stick you on the list. Let me know. That's really all I need for that. Coming up in next month, end of next month, I've got Neil Pearlman, who is a Cape Breton piano player. Very jazzy, fusion-y, new style, real amazing stuff in the deep Scottish Cape Breton tradition. He's going to be playing on this piano over here. That's a solo piano concert. That's going to be an amazing thing. In beginning of May, I've got Sprig of That coming from Minneapolis. They're an Irish group with a tabla. So Indian tabla and Irish, it goes together really, really well.
Killer record, I just heard it.
It's amazing. Yeah, they're going to be something. Yeah. July, I've got Derek Gripper coming from South Africa. He's a kora guitar player who's going to be just a stunning. He's world class. That he's playing in this room is amazing. He ought to be in Meany Hall. Okay. So that's going to be as spectacular as these guys who you're about to hear right now, Windborne, who do play in halls that big, but they're here. Let's welcome Windborne.
You noble diggers all, stand up now, stand up now. You noble diggers all, stand up now. The wasteland to maintain, seen cavaliers by name. Your digging do disdain, and your persons all defame. Stand up now, diggers all.
With spades and hoes and plows,
stand up now, stand up now. With spades and hoes and plows, stand up now. Your freedom to uphold, seeing cavaliers are bold, to kill you if they could, and rights from you withhold. Stand up now, diggers all.
Your houses they pull down.
Stand up now, stand up now. Your houses they pull down. Stand up now. Your houses they pull down to fright poor men in town. But the gentry must come down, and the poor shall wear the crown. Stand up now, diggers all. The gentry are all round. Stand up now, stand up now. The gentry are all round. Stand up now. The gentry are all round. On each side they are found. Their wisdom so profound to cheat us of the ground. Stand up now, diggers all.
The lawyers they conjoin.
Stand up now, stand up now. The lawyers they conjoin. Stand up now. To arrest you they advise, such fury they devise. But the devil in them lies, and hath blinded both their eyes. Stand up now, diggers all.
The clergy they come in.
Stand up now, stand up now. The clergy they come in. Stand up now. The clergy they come in and say it is a sin that we should now begin our freedom for to win. Stand up now, diggers all. The club is all their law. Stand up now, stand up now. The club is all their law. Stand up now. The club is all their law to keep poor folk in awe. But they no vision saw to maintain such a law. Stand up now, diggers all. Against the hate and fear, stand up now, stand up now. Against the hate and fear, stand up now. The press have closed their eyes, they spread the tyrant's lies. They'll tell you with their cries who to love and to despise. Stand up now, diggers all.
Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you so much to Doug and Robin for hosting. We're really delighted to be back in Seattle for the second time this tour. Some of you I recognized some faces from our events last week with the Folklore Society, and that was such a sellout event that we were able to organize this last-minute house concert here. So thank you again to Doug for hosting it. We are in the middle of a West Coast tour. We just got back from a couple of days in Canada, but we are based actually in Massachusetts, and we sing a little bit of a lot of different things. So you're going to get to have a little bit of a musical adventure tonight. We sing music from a variety of countries and cultures with traditions of harmony singing. As well as in recent years, we have a particular focus on songs of social struggle from the past, sung for the things that we're seeing happening in today's times. So that first piece is a good example of that. It is actually the oldest piece in our repertoire. It's called The Diggers' Song, and it comes from England in the 1640s. The Diggers were a group of radical Protestants that interpreted the Bible to be calling for social equality. And it's a piece that, though the words were written 400 years ago, still feels pretty relevant today. And that's true of a lot of things in our repertoire, including this next piece, which is the title track of our most recent album of Hard Times and Harmony. It's a slightly more contemporary piece. It comes from the 1930s, and we learned it from a field recording in the Library of Congress archives. A woman named Lily Steele from Kentucky singing The Song of Hard Times, which is this sort of litany of complaints about people in a small town cheating each other, not doing right by each other. And we were really compelled by the melody and by the themes of the song, and we said, you know what we need to do for these times is write a few verses of our own to add on to this, to trace the lines of power up the chain and find out where this behavior is coming from. So this is The Song of Hard Times.
Come on, you good people, I'll sing you a song. I'll tell you the truth, I know I ain't wrong. It's from father to mother, from sister to brother. They've got in the fashion of cheating each other, and it's hard times.
Since cheating has got so much in the fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times.
Here's the old baker bakes all the bread we eat. Likewise the old butcher by selling his meat.
He'll tip up the still yards and make 'em weigh down,
And swear it's good weight if it lacks 10 pound, and it's hard times.
since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation.
And it's hard times. Here's the proud banker with keys to his vault.
I swear to you all, he's worse by tenfold. He'll hand you 1,000 and call it a loan.
But then soon enough he'll take all that you own, and it's hard times.
Here comes the senator with a tie and a smile.
He'll pledge and he'll
promise and swear it's no trial. He'll go to the Capitol and say he's your friend. Then he'll line his silk pockets and leave you again, and it's hard times. Since cheating has got so much into fashion, I'm afraid it'll spread all over the nation, and it's hard times. whole lot. He's got nothing to fear, 'cause the senator he's bought. He's fixing the vote and he's rigging the game, but he points to your neighbor when you ask who's to blame. Since cheating's the way of the big corporation, by now it's spread all over the nation and it's hard times.
Now I've concluded, I've finished my song. I've told you the truth, and I know it's wrong.
The butcher may cheat you, the banker ain't fair,
But the problem is really the billionaire,
and it's hard times.
Thank you so much. We're going to sing you a song now that comes from the island of Corsica in the Mediterranean. Corsica has a really interesting old singing tradition, a tradition that's sung by small groups of singers, one on a part. And it's a tradition with a lot of improvisation in it. There's kind of a general agreed upon direction that the melody of the song goes, as well as some chords that you're supposed to make along the way. But other than that, the individual singers kind of get to not exactly make up the song as they go, but make it their own, sort of walk the path of the song in their own way. And there's also a particular way that the individual singers in a Corsican ensemble interact with one another. I'm going to be singing a part that's called segunda, which is the Corsican word for second, and it's called that because I do everything first. I kind of lead the charge. I bring in the verse, I bring in the phrase, and I get to play around with the song a lot. I can sort of add a lot of ornamentation to the melody, and I can also play around with the timing. I can sort of speed it up or slow it down, and I just generally get to be the team leader.
I will be singing a part called the terza, which is Corsican for third. So I get to sing above the segunda. And while he's correct, he does get to begin every phrase, and he'll say every word first, and that's fair, you'll hear that. But my part has just as much, really if not more, control over the timing and the push and pull of the song, because, you see, I do just as much, if not more, ornamenting and improvising, and so I can spend as long as I want just making up notes around up top, and it's only when I decide to land on the next chord that he's allowed to lead us on.
So tonight I will be singing the role of Basu, which, as you'd expect, is Corsican for most important. And Will gets to start some of these phrases, and Lynn has final say over how they end. I'm kind of there as their chaperone to make sure that there's a real adult in the room keeping an eye on the song as a whole and really providing the bass for the whole piece.
Well, you know it's a dark day when Jeremy is our adult in the room. But traditionally, Corsican music would be sung with just those three voice parts. But in modern times, they sometimes add in a fourth part called the contra. And that's because when this music is sung in really resonant spaces, like the stone buildings that are all over the island of Corsica, the richness of those three original parts can create overtones, which are notes that you can hear but that nobody is singing. And they sometimes call that the angel voice. So I'll be giving human voice to some of those notes, and you'll see that the parts layer in one at a time, and my part comes in last and sings the least because you know what they say about too much of a good thing.
So the song we'll sing for you now is a traditional padiella or couplet song called Un vi vantate o zibelli, and the translation of the song is "Don't get too cocky, because even the swiftest deer will be caught in the end. The hunters are always lying in wait. Un vi vantate o zibelli."
Zimo
So I just wanted to mention, if you do take any photos or videos, feel free to tag us on, we're Windborne Singers on pretty much any social platform you can think of, and we love to see what you're seeing from the audience. Particularly, it's fun to have sort of a different setting in these house concerts. Folks ask us a lot about what we're doing with our hands on our ears. It's not plugging our ears, we're not blocking anything out. It's actually a technique that we were taught by our Corsican teachers that pretty much every Corsican group uses. And it's a way of hearing yourself by channeling the sound from your mouth through the palm of your hand up to your ear. And as you can tell, there's all of this improvisation, there's all of this ornamentation, and in the midst of all of that, it can be possible to sort of lose what sound am I making in the midst of all of that. So that's just a way of keeping track, so you can have an ear for yourself and an ear open to hearing the totality of the group. We like to call it the medieval stage monitor. We're going to move now north from the island of Corsica to the south of France and sing you a song that's not actually in French. It's in a minority language called Occitan. And this was a language that if you went back a few hundred years, it was pretty much what everyone was speaking in the south of France, into parts of northern Italy and northern Spain. And today it's only spoken by about 1% of the population, but there's still people doing really interesting current work with that tradition and in that language. And this was a piece written fairly recently by Laurent Cavalier to protest the construction of a prison in his hometown of Toulouse. And it takes the form of an Occitan counting song, which all start at 9 and then count down from there with decreasing numbers of some item. This one says, "There are 9 pieces of charcoal for writing, 9 thoughts for mulling over, written on the walls of 9 prison cells. He who is sound of body will go crazy in prison." And as it counts down, the song and the arrangement also descends slowly into madness. And I know at least a couple of you were in the workshop that we did last week, and we learned a version of this song that was just one verse. And this is a great opportunity to see how that arrangement changes on pretty much every verse. Now, Carbus.
Now Carbus perescrire. Now pensaro Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. 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 Et carbus per escrire, et pensaros per ministre, sur apparente vet prisu. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Sed carbus per escrire, sed pensaros per ministre, sur apparente sed prisu. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Ses carbus per escrire, ses pensaros per ministre, sur apparente ses prisu. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Sin carbus per escrire, sin pensaros per ministre, sur apparente sin prisu. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Tes carbus per escrire, tes pensaros per ministre, sur apparente tres prisu. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Dus carbus per escrire, dos pensaros per ministre, sur apparente dos prisu. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. 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 In carbu per escrire, in a pensare per ministre, sur apparente no prisu. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan. Luces bue benanan, ben kabutu bemichan.
So we're going to move over to Basque Country now, and not so far away from the Occitan region. And Basque Country is a region that straddles Spain and France. It's not politically independent these days, but culturally it's quite distinct. It has its own music and dance and song and food and language. Well, both Occitan and Corsican are Romance languages. You might have picked up some cognates here and there if you speak some Romance languages. Basque is a language isolate. It's not related to any other language in the world. And this is a piece that I learned about a decade ago when I was in Basque Country on the Spanish side in a town called Eibar, studying sword dancing. And you can ask me about that at the merch table or something later. Too long of a story for the stage. But after rehearsals, of course, we would go out to the pub and eat and drink and, of course, sing. And this is a love song that I learned there called Bentatik Nator. And it says, I go to the inn and I come from the inn, and my love is always on my mind. I bring them pink carnations because when I am with them, my whole body feels like it is melting like butter by a flame. Bentatik Nator.
English-speaking world now and sing you what we like to think of as the greatest hit off of our album, Song on the Times. And it's a piece that has a really special place in our hearts and in our history as a group, because it really changed the course of our trajectory as a band. We've known each other since teenagers and have been singing together as friends for a really long time. And in 2013, we formed Windborne as a quartet. But it was a really part-time thing for a bunch of years, just fitting in among the other things that we were doing with our lives, like studying sword dancing. But in 2017, things changed for us in a pretty big way. We had just launched this album, Song on the Times, these songs of social struggle from the past, sung for the present. And if you sort of think back to January 2017, what was going on in American political history at that time, we were down in New York City for a gig, and we said, you know, we have all of these old protest songs. What we need to do for this day and age is go down to Fifth Avenue in New York City and sing some of these old protest songs outside of a particularly shiny gold tower there on Fifth Avenue. So that's what we did, and we took a little selfie video of this next song and put it up on the internet, and then 1 million people saw it and started writing to us saying, when are you coming to our communities? We really need this music right now. And that was really what inspired us to put aside our day jobs and make music our full-time living, which is what we've been doing ever since, pandemic notwithstanding. And so we're really glad to be able to share this song with you now. It's called Song of the Lower Classes, and it was originally written in the 1840s in England as part of the Chartist movement, which was a grassroots movement for voting rights. And it's inspired a lot of people to add verses to it over the years, and we've continued in that tradition. And this particular version of the melody is by Ian Robb. So this is Song of the Lower Classes.
We plow and sow, we are so low that we delve in the dirty clay, till we bless the plain with golden grain and the vale with the fragrant hay. Our place we know, we are so low down at the landlord's feet. We're not too low the bread to grow, but too low the bread to eat. We're low, we are so low, yet from our fingers glide the silken flow and the robes that glow round the limbs of the sons of pride. And what we get and what we give, we know, and we know our share. We're not too low the cloth to weave, but too low the cloth to wear. Down, down we go, we are so low to the hell of the deep sunk mine. But we gather the proudest gems that glow, and the crown of the despot shines. Whenever he lacks upon our backs fresh loads he deigns to lay, we're far too low to vote the tax, but not too low to pay. We're low as to war we go, to fight some foreign country that was yesterday our greatest friend, but today's our enemy. God bless our boys, the papers scream, praise them the churchmen cry. When the war is won and home we come, who cares if we live or die? We're low, so low into boats we go, to flee war in our home country. And we'll try to make a better life when we land across the sea. But it's send them back, the press cries out, back to where they came. We're far too low to feed and clothe, but not too low to blame. We are so low, but soon we know that the low folk will arise. The tyrants in their towers of gold shall hear the people's cries. No more shall they hold us in thrall, their lies we will not heed. But every heart shall hear the call, and the people will be free.
Another question that we get asked all the time is, who writes your arrangements? And that we do. we all do together. All of the songs that you're hearing tonight are our arrangements, and what that means is that we find a song that we like and it has a single melody, and one of us sings that, and the rest of us, we sing a bunch of other notes. And we arrange by singing, by doing, and we just get to sing it over and over and over again and try out all the different ideas that we can all possibly imagine to go with that melody. And then the real time consuming part then is listening back to those millions of recordings and then winnowing down to find the perfect harmonies that we all agree on. And that's what eventually makes the arrangement. Now we often, as you've heard earlier, have slightly different arrangements every single verse in order to fit in everyone's good idea. There's a lot of them. But this also allows us to bring out different parts of the text and really frame certain words or phrases by giving them different harmonies that might give a different mood. So as you can imagine, this is a very long process, and it sometimes involves rather intense discussions.
Spirited.
There you go. Yeah. But we think it is so well worth it because what it comes up with is something that's completely different from what any one of us could write on our own. And it is that listening intensely and that collaboration and discussing of all these different options, and that's what makes the Windborne sound. And we'd like to share with you now one of the first songs in our repertoire that went through this collaborative arranging style. This is an English folk song written by Cyril Tawney called Grey Funnel Line. And if you follow us on social media, you can find a video of it.
Don't mind the rain, nor the rolling sea. The weary night never worries me, but the hardest time in a sailor's day is to watch the sun as she dies away. Here's one more day on the gray funnel line. Oh Lord, if dreams were only the time like some machine until blue waters turn to green. Then I'll dance on down that walk ashore and sail the gray funnel line no more. Here's one more day on the gray funnel line.
We're going to sing one more, and then we'll take an intermission. During the intermission, we have a sales cabinet over there where you can find our CDs and T-shirts. It's a little confusing, actually, because some of our CDs look like books, because they are books. But there's CDs inside the books. And that includes our two most recent albums, of Hard Times and Harmony and Song on the Times, which are both collections of songs of social struggle. And we really like writing liner notes, so they got bigger and bigger, and they turned into books. We also have Midwinter Meeting, which is a CD we released a long time ago of songs from a variety of cultures and countries with harmony singing traditions, including some Corsican and Basque music, as well as Lay Around That Shack, an Anglophone folk music CD with Grey Funnel Line on it, as well as more than one banjo at a time, if that is either a selling point or a detractor, I don't know. But not on Grey Funnel Line, to be clear. We wouldn't go that far.
Dare.
There is that Dolly Parton version of Grey Funnel Line where they do play guitar. Dolly Parton does a trio version of Grey Funnel. It's wild.
It's stunning.
Right. Well, that's not on that CD either. We also have our mailing list. If you want to hear about our, get on the early side of when we're going to be coming back into the area, so you can get your tickets next time to the big shows or whatnot. Although you did get to hear, so that's good. But if you want to get on the mailing list, the trick is you need to use your very best handwriting. Otherwise, you won't get on the mailing list, and that will be sad for you. But there's also a QR code on our programs, which were on your seat. As well as you can just go straight to our website, windbornesingers.com. So our last song for the half is a French-Canadian tune. This is a modern folk song written by the incredible folk band Le Vent du Nord. And I'm glad there are some fans in the audience. We're fans as well.
I'll be in town later.
3 weeks.
Oh, excellent.
Ooh,
Say hi to them for us.
Yeah.
Le Vent du Nord, the North Wind. And this is a folk song that they wrote as a protest against fracking. And they took this old fable, the fable of the devil and the farmer. And the devil and the farmer in this story are having a contest of wits. And the farmer tries his best to read the fine print of the deal. And he plans out just the right vegetables to plant at the right times to leave the devil holding nothing, or well, at least nothing tasty. Unfortunately for the farmer, this is a very modern devil. He has built up a lot of contacts in the fossil fuel industry, which I guess maybe the farmer should have foreseen that. But it goes a little bit differently for him in the end, unfortunately. We've done a bilingual version of the song so that you can follow along with the story as we sing it. This is Le Diable et le Fermier.
C'est l'histoire d'un diable sortant du doigt des flammes, promettant au fermier de lui laisser son âme.
Our story starts in flame. A devil straight from hell who to a farmer swore to spare his mortal soul. If he divide and share the
chacun sa moitié, c'est une obligation. Le diable choisit pour que l'entente soit bonne de garder ce qu'il reste sur la terre à l'automne.
The devil chose his half to sweeten up his fall. He'd take the part that lay above the ground and fall. The farmer he agreed and planted straight away potatoes, carrots, beets, which beneath the ground all
Des
lay.
patates, des carottes, véritable navet. Ho, ho, ho,
Who would trade their bounty?
ho, ho, ho.
Let us just guess a terra.
Ho, ho, ho.
Got the better deal.
Ho, ho, ho. Du diable ou de l'homme.
Quand arriva le temps d'échanger les butins, le diable maudit ne lui restait plus rien.
When it was time in fall to divvy up the spoils, the devil's share was not. It caused his blood to boil. He to the farmer said, I'll not be tricked again. I'll take the half below. See how you like it then.
Prenez donc à votre
Tout ce qui pousse sur le terrain.
Le fermier accepta et planta 7 fois
Des tomates, des courgettes, des melons et des pois.
farmer took the deal and planted all his seeds, tomatoes, squash, and peas, melons, and green beans.
At harvest time, the fiend, with nothing for him, then returned to deepest hell. The farmer wins again.
Retourna vers Satan, le fermier triomphant. Ho, ho, ho,
Who gamble without knowing.
ho, 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 sans connaître le marché. Ho, ho, ho,
Who'd fracture their own land?
ho, ho, ho.
La terre des Joséphine.
Dum, 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 dum,
Le diable respecte sa parole, sous gaz du fer, il viderait le sol.
But keeping to his word, the devil turned around. He drained the iron, the gas, and the water from the ground.
Now on that very land, what can spring up today? Just poisonous pigs and gas, tainted water and
L'eau
decay.
souillée et les fuites de gaz empoisonné.
La terre fragilisée, comme ce Québécois condamné à mourir, que son avant
The farmer, like the land, stood shattered and defiled, henceforth condemned to boil the water for his child. The devil thus enriched, the land all dry and spent, left to seek new ground, leaving nothing but cement. Ho, ho, ho,
at the end he divorced
ho, 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 qui donc aura perdu? Ho, 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 ses précieuses énergies. Ho, 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 who's lost and who has won? Ho, 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 will we repeat the bargain? Ho, 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 or is the deal already done?
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
So this is spine tingling in the best way, isn't it? I am just stunned by what we were experiencing here tonight. I'm thrilled you're here. You even got back in position before I even had to flick the lights. So, yeah, you are so well trained. And in fact, the end of it, many of you have been here know there's the chain to get the chairs back downstairs at the end of the evening. So if you feel like doing that, wonderful. What else do you need to know? The video of this is going to be on YouTube in a couple of days. So I have a channel. I'll send a notice out about this. I have a playlist on YouTube of all my house concerts that I have captured. Everything's there. I've been doing this for 10 years, so there's a lot of concerts on that channel. Yeah. So, let's welcome Windborne. If they hear us, let's welcome Windborne. Back for the second half.
Welcome back. We're going to start off the second half with another piece in the Occitan language. And those of you who speak some Romance language, some French or Spanish or Italian, you might have picked up in that one that we sang in the first half that as we were counting down from 9, we skipped the number 4. And that wasn't that was on purpose. It's part of the tradition in these Occitan counting songs. They all start at 9 and count down, and they all skip the number 4. And it was explained to us that that was just a little bit of a superstition. So that's your Occitan trivia for the day. We're going to sing a piece that we learned from the singing of a group called Le Corps de la Plano, which is Marseille's leading a cappella disco folk band. But they're part of this whole sort of revival movement in Occitan folk culture of taking these old songs, these old traditions, and doing new work with them. And they write really fun and wild arrangements of these old songs. And we've taken a page out of their book and written a fun and wild arrangement of our own of this piece, which is called No Guyatas, 9 Girls. And it says, there are 9 girls in the village of Castelnau, and they want to dance. And then over there in the corner in the shadows, there's some boys, and predictably enough, the boys do not want to dance. And then the next verse says, there are 8 girls in the village of Castelnau who want to dance, and the boys are over in the corner, and the boys do not want to dance. And then the next verse says, there are 7 girls in the village of Castelnau. And you can sort of see where this is going. One by one, all the girls leave in frustration, and the boys are still over there in the corner, still not wanting to dance. And we sort of figured that this might be the Occitan version of a middle school dance. But it's called No Guyatas.
No guyatas a Castelnau, no guyatas a Castelnau.
No guyatas a Castelnau, no guyatas a Castelnau.
E los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre.
Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas.
Et guyatas a Castelnau, et guyatas a Castelnau.
Wait, Guyatas a Castelnau.
Wait, guyatas a Castelnau.
Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas.
Set Guyatas a Castelnau. Set Guyatas a Castelnau.
Set guyatas a Castelnau, set guyatas a Castelnau.
Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Chez guyatas a Castelnau, chez guyatas a Castelnau. Chez guyatas a Castelnau, chez guyatas a Castelnau.
Et los que voulèrent danser,
Et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas.
et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Guyatas a Castelnau, guyatas a Castelnau.
Guyatas a Castelnau. Guyatas a Castelnau. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que
Tres guyatas a Castelnau, tres guyatas a Castelnau.
Guyatas a Castelnau.
Tres guyatas a Castelnau. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas.
Guyatas a Castelnau. Dos Guyatas a Castelnau.
Dos guyatas a Castelnau, dos guyatas a Castelnau.
Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas.
Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et los que voulèrent danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Yo guyata a Castelnau, yo guyata a Castelnau.
Yo Guyata a Castelnau. Yo Guyata a Castelnau.
Et lo que voglio danser, et los guyats que circulumbre. Et lo que voglio danser, et los guyats que volent pas. Et lo que voglio danser, et los guyats que guglielto sarcastico.
Is our mailing list over there somewhere? We were going to pass it around at the start of the second half, and then I forgot.
Good remembering.
Great. Can we just pass that around, and feel free to join our mailing list so that you will hear directly when we will next be in the area.
Good remembering.
Thanks.
Are there any Joe Jenks fans in this audience? No Joe Jenks fans? Oh, a couple of nods. Okay, some quiet Joe Jenks fans. Well, the rest of you should do yourselves a favor and look him up. He's a really fabulous singer-songwriter and just all-around excellent human being and a dear friend of ours. We got to meet him a couple of years ago when we were both playing a festival together out in New York. And we instantly sort of fell in love with each other's music because we both really value songs that have important messages and that are really saying something in the world. And so we've, with his blessing, written an a cappella arrangement of one of his songs, which is a song that feels particularly sort of relevant to be singing, not just for things in the United States, but also sort of for the situation in the whole world these days. It's called Lady of the Harbor, which of course refers to the Statue of Liberty.
From far away and distant lands, the tempest tossed with hopeful hearts and calloused hands. Reach for the light, the torch held high, and cast their gaze upon the Lady of the Harbor, and she welcomes them with open arms. She says, "Let my children in." Shine on, oh you Lady of the Harbor. And so it was, our families, they sailed from Poland, Britain, France, and Germany. Their earthly cares packed in their bags, they cast their gaze upon the Lady of the Harbor, and she welcomed them with open arms. She said, "Let my children in." Shine on, oh you Lady of the Harbor. Now we're locking down the borders, and we're filling up the jails, and we say they don't belong. How conveniently do we forget that we've all come to sing the same sweet song. Will the dream survive the strain? Will huddled masses have a chance to learn its sweet refrain? Or will we fall into our fears and turn our backs against the Lady of the Harbor? No, we'll welcome them with open arms and say, "Let her children in." Shine on, oh you Lady of the Harbor. Oh you Lady of the Harbor.
So in the early 1900s, there was a huge strike in the textile industry in Lawrence, Massachusetts, not too far away from where we live. And this strike came to be known as the Bread and Roses strike. Some of you know where this is going. And it was called the Bread and Roses strike largely because of a speech that was given by the union activist and organizer named Rose Schneiderman, who said, "What the woman that labors wants is the right to live, not simply exist. The right to life as the rich woman has the right to life, and the sun and music and art. The worker must have bread, but she must have roses too." And it's a pity that over 100 years later, this is a sentiment that still needs fighting for. And this song, of course, in particular, is not only about workers' rights, but also is at the intersection of women's rights and immigrant rights as well, because at that time, the textile industry was mostly women, and many of them also immigrants. And so this speech inspired a poem, and the poem has been set to music a number of times, and we went looking for the oldest version of the melody that we could find, written by a woman named Martha Coleman. And I'm actually going to start by singing you just that melody. You can hear it by itself. And then suddenly we'll add in the full Windborne arrangement, and you can hear that contrast. Bread and Roses. As we go marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill-lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill-lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we fight for children too, for they are watching, learning, and they'll make the world anew. Our life shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we go marching, marching, unnumbered women dead go crying through our singing their ancient cry for bread. Small art and love and beauty, their drudging spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we go marching, marching, together we stand tall, for the rising of the women means the rising of us all. No more the drudge and idler tend that toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, 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 bread and roses. Give us bread, but give us roses, give us roses, bread and roses, bread and roses, bread and roses.
sing you another Occitan song. This one is not a counting song. It's a story about an old woman, La Vieille. She's about 80 years old, and she's living in Paris, and she decides there's something that she's never tried before that she wants to try, which is getting married. And so she does what any of us would do. She makes a profile on Tinder. Or actually, I'm getting ahead of my time period here. She goes to the dance hall, and she strides up to a strapping young lad, and she says to him, "Would you like to get married? I could make you as rich as a merchant." Well, he's considering it. He's not sure. He asks her, "Can I see your teeth first?" And she laughs, and she opens her mouth and shows him both of her teeth. Unfortunately, she's laughing a little bit too hard, and one of them falls out. But I guess he decides that being as rich as a merchant sounds kind of nice. So, long story short, they go home, they drink some wine, there's a beautiful wedding on Monday. On Tuesday, there's a funeral. But he's thinking maybe I got the better and the best of this deal. But when it comes time to read out her will, perhaps she had the last laugh because she only had the money of a small child. It's called La Vieille.
Di Paris, là une vieille,
Comme ça c'est le chantant tam tam ouzo. Comme ça c'est le chantant tam tam ouzo. La vieille c'est maïna so sa so pochingara tam tam ouzo. Sa so pochingara tam tam ouzo.
di di
Galant c'est me spouse, ti farai riche machan. Tam tam ouzo. Ti farai riche machan. Tam tam ouzo.
Your name
Preni panna viejo, che non lieve se ben, pam pam uso, che non lieve se ben, pam pam uso.
La vieille, si metta vive, il suo cuore ma la
Ido che librando, la tovaglia cascaiata, tam tam uso, la tovaglia cascaiata, tam tam uso. Lugalo porto la viejo, al gleo de San Gian, tam tam uso, al gleo de San Gian, tam tam uso.
c'est l'udilu, c'est la sposado, l'ultima l'enterravo, tom tom uso, l'ultima l'enterravo, tom tom c'est la sposado, l'ultima l'enterravo,
Lo farei alla gara, sembra caramenta, tam tam uso, sembra caramenta, tam tam uso. Della gente che sto viejo, now in the taking John, tam tam uso, now in the taking John, tam tam uso, man.
Wanted to take a moment just to talk about one of the reasons that we've actually been able to continue being full-time musicians, even over the past couple of years, where sometimes the touring part of being a touring musician was very theoretical. And that has been our Patreon community. If you don't know what Patreon is, you can take a look at your programs. They have some information about it, but I'll just tell you it's something worth knowing about, because I think it's sort of by necessity where some of the music industry is going these days, and where artists will continue to be able to be artists. It's an online platform where people can become small-scale patrons of the arts. So for whatever monthly donation fits your budget, you can support an artist whose work you love. And in return, what we do, at least in Windborne, is we send you what we like to think of as the Windborne CSA. It's all of the freshest songs that we're growing. It's the behind the scenes. It's the notions of how do we take, just a melody and then turn it into what you see fleshed out on stage or on an album of ours. Speaking of albums, it also is where we put all of the songs that don't fit into the themes of our albums, so that they're not released on digitally or on plastic, and that's sort of where we've been releasing music more recently. So if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, supporting our work and getting some more of that music, you can find patreon.com/Windborne. There's information on your programs, and it really has meant so much to us, not just financially as a necessity, but also having a artistic outlet in a community that has formed around our music, so we can be producing work for people who are listening to it. It's been an artistic and emotional relief as well. We're going to sing you one of those unreleased pieces. This one is another Corsican song written by our Corsican teacher, Jean-Etienne Langiani, who took a traditional old text, E Montagna d'Orezza, and set it to music and with his own composition, and of course sung in this Corsican style that has these improvisations, so we make it our own. The text says, "It was the mountains of Orezza that made me completely happy, the song of the dove and of the partridge, telling the whole world we held each other dearly." You can also find an amazing video of this on both Patreon and some of our socials from Durham Cathedral.
Soli
one of the overarching themes that we write about in our song of Hard Times and Harmony book and album is this tension, this question between how do we spend our time, and how much of our energy and our effort and our time do we devote to fighting for what is just and right in the world and standing up for the good, and at the same time making sure that we're also leaving time to be in community, to enjoy each other's company, to spend time in nature and feel the world around us. And we start to resolve this question in our conversations. We talk about this, is that these moments of enjoyment, of being with each other in singing, in nature, and all of this, that can be in and of itself a radical act that is a refusal of some of the forces that are in the world these days. And at the same time, the fighting and standing up for what is right is to ensure that everyone has the ability to have those moments and have that luxury. And it shouldn't be a luxury, in fact. And we're going to sing you a song that sort of speaks to this tension and the way that I think it can maybe be resolved. It's the very last track on that album, and it's by Phil Oakes, who's a singer that we don't think got quite as much recognition as he deserved. And it always amazes me that he wrote this song at the age of only 25. It's called When I'm Gone.
There's no place in this world where I'll belong when I'm gone, and I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. You won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't breathe the bracing air when I'm gone, and I can't even worry about my cares when I'm gone. I won't be asked to do my share when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't be running from the rain when I'm gone, and I can't even suffer from the pain when I'm gone. Can't say who's to praise and who's to blame when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't see the golden of the sun when I'm gone. The evenings and the mornings will be one when I'm gone. Can't be singing louder than the guns when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. All my days won't be dances of delight when I'm gone. The sands will be shifting from my sight when I'm gone. Can't add my name into the fight when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't be laughing at the lies when I'm gone. I can't question how or when or why when I'm gone. Can't live proud enough to die when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it where I'm place in this world where I'll belong when I'm gone. And I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. You won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here.
Thank you all so much. We have one more song to sing for you, but before we do that, we wanted to say a really enormous thank you to Doug and Robin for having us here. last minute. That was really
when you show up.
well. That was
for being here.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to say. You know, I think over the past couple of years, we've really all had to come to the real, or not to come to the, but we had the realization forced upon us that live performance is truly a precious and precarious thing in the world. And we feel so lucky to be able to be back doing that as our life, as our career, and we really couldn't do it without all of you. So thank you so much for being here.
I also want to say he's not here, but thank you to David Kessler at the Folklore Society for making the connection. When we sold out the Finney concerts, we sort of had a mad scramble, and we're like, oh, where can we do a thing? So he's not here, but our hearts are.
Yes, very grateful for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Us too. And hopefully our mailing list is still circulating somewhere.
Somewhere.
Be sure to get a chance to get
Yep.
on that.
So our final song for you this evening is another French-Canadian tune. This one's called Les Tisserands, which means the Weavers. And it's a song that sort of goes through the weekly schedule of weavers in Quebec. On Monday, they have a big party and they drink a lot of wine. So on Tuesday, they schedule a hangover. On Wednesday, they go into the weaving studio and they think about what they're going to be weaving this week, and they sort of plan it out. They think about the pattern, they set up the loom, they wind a bunch of shuttles, you know, all that sort of stuff. So on Thursday, they're good and ready to go visit their girlfriends. And on Friday, they weave a little bit. On Saturday, rather, for some reason, the cloth is not finished yet. That means that on Sunday, it's time to go back to the customer and ask for more money. And as the song says, in all of this, they're more productive than bishops who just do that last bit. Les tisserands font plus que les évêques.
Les tisserands font plus que les évêques.
Le lundi se font une fête.
Petit péta, petit trop rond et tu trop fait. Se coucher tard vers matin, puis quin, quin, quin.
En roulant la navette, le bon temps viendra.
Le bon temps viendra.
Le lundi se font une fête.
Le lundi se font une fête.
Et les mardis sont mal à la tête.
Petit péta, petit trop rond et tu trop fait. Se coucher tard vers matin, puis quin, quin, quin.
En roulant la navette, le bon temps viendra.
Le bon temps viendra.
Le mardi, ils ont mal à la tête.
Le mardi,
Ils ont mal à la tête.
Le mercredi, il faut changer la pièce.
Petit péta, petit trop rond et tu trop fait. Se coucher tard vers matin, puis quin, quin, quin.
en roulant la navette, le bon temps viendra.
Le bon temps viendra.
Le mercredi, il va changer leur pièce.
Le mercredi, ils vont changer leurs pièces.
Et le jeudi, il va voir la maîtresse.
Petit péta, petit trop rond et tu trop fait. Se coucher tard vers matin, puis quin, quin, quin.
En roulant la navette, le bon temps viendra.
Le bon temps viendra.
Le vendredi, il travaillait sans cesse.
Le vendredi, ils travaillent sans cesse.
Le samedi, la pièce n'est point faite.
Petit péta, petit trop rond et tu trop fait. Se coucher tard vers matin, puis quin, quin, quin.
En roulant la navette, le bon temps viendra.
Le bon temps viendra.
Le samedi, la pièce n'est point faite.
Samedi, la pièce n'est point faite.
Et le dimanche, il faut de l'argent mettre. Petit péta, petit trop rond et tu trop fait. Se coucher tard vers matin, puis quin, quin, quin.
En roulant la navette, le bon temps viendra.
Le bon temps viendra.
3, 4.
Dit-on, 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 dit-on,
With house concerts.
Yes, they can block the exit.
There's no way to get out.
I mean, we do have one more song. We'll sing you another piece off of our album of Hard Times in Harmony, and this is a song that comes from England, from the lead mining industry, called 4p a day. And it talks about the dismal working conditions and starvation wages that the miners in that industry faced. And we found a version of the melody by a group called Cross of the Hands that we really loved, and we've rewritten the lyrics to be about sort of similar themes, but in an industry that's a little bit closer to home for us. And we'd like to send this one out to all of our patrons.
Thank you.
My father was a folk musician. He used to sell LPs, cassette tapes in the 1980s, and later on CDs. I told him I'd take up his trade, but he looked at me to say, it's very hard to work for just 0.4 cents a play. 0.4 cents a play, my friends, just 0.4 cents a play. It's very hard to work for just 0.4 cents a play. He said back in the good old days, the lines would all be long. As people queued to buy CDs, they formed a joyous throng. But now the music's all online, for discs they will not pay. My darling child, the times have changed, that's how it is today. For now they put the CDs down, and with a curious eye, they ask the dreaded question then, are you on Spotify? And with a sigh we answer yes, but this we'd rather say. It's very hard to work for just 0.4 cents a play. 0.4 cents a play, my friends, just 0.4 cents a play. It's very hard to work for just 0.4 cents a play. At the cafe just down the street, they roast a tasty bean. I order up a cappuccino, it costs 1,000 streams. And if I want to pay my rent, I'm very sad to say, it costs 250,000 streams at 0.4 cents a play. 0.4 cents a play, my friends, just 0.4 cents a play. It costs 250,000 streams at 0.4 cents a play. I have not come to tell you all that streaming songs is bad. In fact, I sometimes stream some music while hanging out with Dad. But if I love an artist's songs for their CD, I'll pay, 'cause I know how hard it is to work for 0.4 cents a play. 0.4 cents a play, my friends, just 0.4 cents a play, 'cause I know how hard it is to work for 0.4 cents a play. 0.4 cents a play, my friends, just 0.4 cents a play. So support musicians because they're worth more than 0.4 cents a play. Thank you for coming out and supporting live music. Get home safe. We'll see you next time.